Look at this map of Africa. Data visualizations plot immense physical wealth, unextracted minerals, freshwater, and forests. When we layer economic hierarchies over this geography, heavy red panels drop down. The resources are obscured by bottom-tier GDP figures and poverty rankings. How do the nations holding the highest concentration of natural assets on the planet universally end up classified as the poorest? Standard explanations usually point to corruption or geography. Those factors exist, but they do not account for the sheer scale of the disconnect. The true mechanism hiding this wealth is baked into the language and mathematical metrics of economics itself. Modern economics presents itself as a neutral, objective science. In reality, it speaks a highly specific dialect. The language we use to calculate prosperity was built by industrial societies that focused almost exclusively on movement, commercial exchange, and the speed of trade. That vocabulary creates a condition called povertillusion. This is the false appearance of poverty within a society that actually holds massive, tangible assets. Our conventional metrics cannot distinguish between a nation that is genuinely poor and one that simply hasn't converted its raw assets into market transactions yet. These nations are not empty of wealth. Their wealth is simply invisible to the vocabulary currently used to measure the world. Think about the massive dictionary economics has developed for movement. We have sophisticated terms for sovereign debt, deficit yields, and trade imbalances. But we have almost no recognized terminology to describe the stock of untouched, existing assets a country already owns. Gross domestic product, the ultimate metric of success, exclusively records activity after wealth enters a market. It entirely ignores the intrinsic civilizational value of an asset prior to its sale. This creates flow blindness. The economic framework simply cannot perceive or value wealth unless it is currently moving through a financial market. Under this current system, an ancient standing forest or an untouched mineral reserve generates exactly zero economic value. Because the global economy lacks recognized metrics for preservation, it treats the existence of natural wealth as worthless until the moment it is destroyed. Measurement creates reality. Whatever a system can mathematically measure, it will naturally incentivize. This leads to a logic model known as extractonomics. It is a system that evaluates resources strictly by their capacity to generate immediate, short-term revenue. This split-screen diagram shows the perverse incentive at play. On the left, protecting a forest for future generations registers as $0. On the right, cutting down that same forest and loading it onto a transport truck triggers a massive spike in GDP. This desperate need to trigger measurable financial flow leaves resource-rich nations highly vulnerable. To get on the scoreboard, they must sell, which surrenders pricing control to external buyers. Following the right side of the diagram, you see the trap. The chopped tree receives a tiny, low price tag at the point of extraction. It then moves to a foreign factory, where it transforms into a finished product carrying a massively inflated price tag. The true value of the resource physically leaves the host nation. What stays behind is environmental depletion, lost potential, and weakened sovereignty. The global economy structure creates a direct incentive to destroy assets in exchange for short-term revenue, rewarding the export of wealth rather than its preservation. When every international report and global development index consistently labels a resource-dense nation as low income, that classification eventually moves from the spreadsheet into the national consciousness. This creates the condition of aid mind, the internalization of an external deficit. It results in a disconnect where a society begins to see itself as a recipient of charity rather than a manager of immense, unmeasured assets. When communities sitting on immense physical wealth are continuously told by official ledgers that they are poor, they eventually accept dependency on foreign assistance as their natural, inescapable destiny. This psychological colonization is the ultimate trap. It blinds a nation to its own leverage, stripping away the belief that it has the power to shape its own future. If language dictates what economics rewards, then breaking the cycle of dependency requires inventing an entirely new economic vocabulary. The cure for dependency is SovMind, the awakening of ownership consciousness. It is the outright rejection of dependency as destiny. Economic strategy reorients around a different question. Instead of asking, what can we sell today? a nation begins to ask, what must we protect for tomorrow? The new economic mandate maximizes civilizational strength. It means treating resources as inheritances, actively protecting unextracted wealth on behalf of unborn citizens. The ultimate wealth of a nation lies in its ability to recognize what it owns, define its value, and determine its future on its own terms. Without that recognition, even the richest resources remain invisible to the very people who own them.